Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Start U of G session all about living at university. My name is Jenny Danes, and I use she and her pronouns, and I'm a part of the START team who is working to help welcome you folks onto campus this September. So we're really excited to have you all here. We have some wonderful representatives from the Student Housing Services team, as well as our off-campus living team. And we're all really excited to chat with you about kind of living at university. So whether you are living on campus, you'll be living off campus in a rental, or you're going to be staying at home, this session is for you, and we're going to learn about some different tips and tricks within the city. We're going to talk about the different types of accommodations that you have access to, and as well hear from some different student representatives about their time here at the university as well. But as you can see, we're going to start off with a welcome and land acknowledgement. So it's with great respect that the University of Guelph recognizes that we are on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples and on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. So we recognize at the University of Guelph, this land is home to many past, present, and future First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. And that is really important that we honor and respect this land where we all learn and grow. Because we might be tuning into this virtual session from across the province, out of province, or, across the world. But what grounds us all here today is the land and the territory of the University of Guelph. So throughout your time here, you're going to hear different land acknowledgements, and it's really important to recognize and understand why we do land acknowledgements. So the University of Guelph has some really great resources, which we're going to post in the chat, and I encourage you to check them out and learn a little bit more about the land that you'll be coming to in the University of Guelph. So the city of Guelph, so you folks will all be arriving, either you might be here right now or you might be arriving. The city of Guelph really is a beautiful city. Oftentimes you might hear it referred to as the Royal City. But I just wanted to share a few of my favorite things about the University of Guelph, but more broadly, the city itself. One of my favorite things is that the city is full of green space. So while we are, depending on where you're from, you might think we're a big city or you might think we're a small city. But regardless, we have tons of beautiful green space to take advantage of. We have the Arboretum, which is literally attached to our campus. And it's such an amazing space to be able to use, to go for walks. There's events and programs that run out of the Arboretum. We have owl walks. You can go and see animals. And it's a really beautiful space to enjoy. There's conservation areas around the city of Guelph. We have the Guelph Lake Conservation Area, as well as many other areas to enjoy. And then there's also tons of parks and walkable spaces as well within the city. So it's really a beautiful place to kind of enjoy. Sometimes the city is rainy, like if you are in the city today, it is very wet outside, but it also is super beautiful. And there's lots of different activities to do. Our downtown area has lots of local shops, amazing restaurants, as well as different like entertainment places as well. So we definitely encourage you once you arrive to Guelph to check those out as well. My personal favorite restaurant is downtown, and it's called Coco Chicken. It's a Korean fried chicken place, and it is honestly incredible. So if you eat chicken, I highly recommend you check it out because it is wonderful as well. So while we are in the city of Guelph, our campus community is almost like a little city in itself. So we have lots of different values that we like to use to ground ourselves for all the students, staff, and faculty that work at the university and call this campus home. So we have some Griffin's values, which I wanted to share with you because regardless if you are living on or off campus, these are some of the values we encourage you to hold. So Griffins are respectful and caring. We're determined to do our best. We're engaged both inside and outside of the classroom, and we're authentic to our true selves. So, like I said, the university is its own little community, and we really try to uphold these values. And there's a few different ways that we do this, and a few different policies that apply to everyone at the university. So, within residence, which you'll hear more about later, we have the residence community living standards, which is kind of like a different code we ask resident students to abide by. And then off campus, and across the university, we have the community standards protocol as well. So these are just some policies that are put in place to ensure that our campus can be as welcoming and uphold these values as much as we can for all the different students to attend. But now that we've learned a little bit about the different kind of values we have on campus, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the details. So I'm going to invite Abby to come and chat with us about, oh, no, sorry, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the community. So while you folks are here on campus, there's plenty of different ways that you folks can get involved within the community. Some of these opportunities are based on whether you're off campus or on campus, but most of these opportunities are just based on whatever you're interested in. So you folks will be hearing more throughout the month of August about orientation week. You folks will get the schedule sent to you mid-August, but I really wanted to stress here that orientation week is for everyone. So all new students, doesn't matter where you're living or your different scenario, orientation week is for you. You'll see in our schedule that there are plenty of different types of events related for your different interests or identities. There are some specific events that are tailored for resident students. So, your building meetings, those are for students who are living in residence buildings. And also at the same time, there are some events that are specifically targeted for students living off campus or commuting. So we have a lot of great events, and there's something really for everyone. We also run Griffin's Nest programming as well. So you folks should have been added to a Microsoft Teams channel. We have the Griffin's Nest for all new incoming undergraduate students. And then we also have our off-campus Griffin's Nests. So the one that's specific for off-campus, we have facilitators in the off-campus Griffin's Nest who are there to connect with you, kind of be like at that upper year mentor, answer your questions. And then during orientation week, they actually will go to events with you. So they'll get to connect with you. They'll set a meeting location before the event, and then you can meet up with them and go to the event together with a bunch of other off-campus students. Similar how during orientation week, a lot of the residence assistants will bring students to events. Off-campus students will also get that as well. So that's another great little community piece there. We also have over 250 clubs and societies on campus that are run by various different student groups. There really is something for everyone. We have, sports-based activities and clubs based on kind of different identities. There really is something for everyone. Our newest club, I believe, is the Lettuce Eating Club, where they have competitions to eat heads of lettuce. So really, there is something for everyone, and orientation week will be a great way for you folks to get to see the different clubs and societies there. And then lastly, the START team, myself and my student staff, also continue to provide different events and opportunities for you folks throughout the semester in the fall and winter, for you folks to kind of create and get to meet different members of the community. We have START homeroom sessions that will happen throughout the fall, which are kind of chill drop-in study spaces where you can connect, grab some resources and snacks, and get to meet other students. And then we'll have the START Skills Workshop series, where you folks can learn different skills from different campus partners across campus. So I know that's lots of information, and you're probably like, oh, wow, there's lots to think about. But no need to worry. All this will kind of be told to you again. It'll go in email, so you don't have to worry about remembering everything right now. But now I promise I promised I'd bring Abby on the screen. So I'm going to invite Abby up on the screen, and Abby is going to chat to us about the different opportunities for eating and dining on campus. Abby, take it away.
I'm not used to that. Hi, everyone. My name's Abby. I'm going to use she, her pronouns, and I'm an upper year student at the University of Guelph. I'm also a student staff on the orientation team this summer, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about eating on campus. So, your campus cards, your student ID card, is your payment method for all your dining purchases on campus, as well as shopping at the university bookstore. You can also add a textbook plan to your meal plan, which enables you to buy your textbooks. The on-campus meal plan are offered in 5 different sizes, and they are mandatory for students that are living in traditional residence options. So that includes East and West residences and East Village, or sorry, that does not include East and West residences and East Village townhouses, but there are options for you if you want to buy a meal plan as well. We offer 5 different sizes of on-campus meal plans to suit any needs. The cost covers for both the fall and the winter semester. You'll receive half of your food dollars at the beginning of September, and then the rest at the other half in mid-December. All 5 meal plan options are available to students living in residence, and they're also available to students living off campus. I know I used my meal plan a lot when I was in residence, but I also used it just as much when I lived off campus because it was super easy to just grab a meal or grab a snack when you're on campus for a long time. You have lots of classes you're studying. It's super great to have that option as well. So to pay for your purchase using your campus card, you're just going to tap your card at a card reader at the cashier, and the appropriate amount will be deducted from your student meal plan. Without your campus card, you will have to pay with another means of payment, so that can include debit or credit. You can't transfer a cash purchase to your Ultra Food plan, and you cannot get a cash refund from your plan either. So our food campus has been voted the number one university food service in Canada for over 10 years by Maclean's magazine. Our menus include vegetarian, vegan, kosher, halal, gluten-free, peanut and nut-free, and lactose-free choices. We also offer homemade comfort food and international cuisine, and everything is extensively freshly prepared. We have salad bars, specialty desserts from our family bake shop. Everything tastes amazing. I can promise you that. There's also a dietitian on campus who can help you learn more about your foods that work for you, and they can also help you select options on campus based on your various food needs. I love the University of Guelph Food Services because there are so many different options. I personally do have dietary needs, and I was kind of a picky eater when I came to the U of G, but I am always able to find something to eat on campus. I love to eat at Crillman Hall because they have really, really wide selection and dietary needs for all students. You should definitely try the crepes or the burritos. My favorite place, though, to eat on campus is Bob's Dogs. Bob's Dogs is a local celebrity on campus. He sings, he plays guitar, he is a cowboy who sells hot dogs. There is also a vendor that sells Bob's Dog merch, and if you wear your shirt to get a Bob's Dog, he'll take a picture of you and put you in his collage. So you should definitely try that out. He's been on campus for close to 25 years, so he's definitely a campus tradition. So you should definitely get a hot dog to continue the tradition. And that's it for me.
Amazing. Thank you, Abby. And now we're going to bring August on the screen to chat about different transportation on campus, but also within the city of Guelph.
Hi, everyone. Happy to talk about on-campus transportation today. So transit is an excellent way to get around the city of Guelph. Many students who are living off campus use the bus to get to and from university. I lived off campus during my undergrad, so I became familiar with the buses in Guelph pretty quickly. If you're registered for in-person courses, a portion of your student fees is used to cover the cost of a bus pass. So then your student card can double as a bus pass and allows you to have unlimited rides on the City of Guelph Transit. My bus pass allowed me to ride the bus wherever I needed to go in the city, fully covered. And I used it a lot during my time as an undergrad. I used it for groceries, shopping, nights out at karaoke with my friends, you name it, I was doing it. There's a late night bus service that actually runs from 1 to 3 a.m. during the school semesters and helps to pick students up outside of the regular bus hours. And that was also something that I utilized because if I was going out and I needed a bus, it was there for me. And again, that's completely free. I also, when I was familiarizing myself with the bus routes initially, I found it useful to check the bus routes before heading out to school or to do errands. You can actually check the bus routes using the Guelph Transit website or find bus times using Google Maps. A lot of the buses in Guelph come pretty frequently. And so, again, you're going to be able to get where you need to go using the buses. I took actually the 99 North when I was an off campus commuter, and I had a quick, convenient 10-minute bus ride to school every day. The 99 comes every 10 minutes, and it was a 10-minute bus ride. So really, I would be able to leave at 8:15 to be on campus in time for my 8:30 morning classes. I'm a morning person, but not that much of a morning person, so that was always a nice thing for me. And then on weekends, I would take the bus downtown, and there's a bus loop connecting you to many other buses in Guelph. So I also love thrifting. I would regularly go downtown and transfer there at that bus loop to get to Value Village, which is in the north end of the city. That's the one Value Village we have, and it's incredible. You might find me there, actually. So if you have any questions about campus or travel in or out of Guelph, you can email ocl@uofguelph with your questions, and they're a great resource. If you're interested in Go Transit, Go Transit serves the Greater Toronto area and can actually be found right on campus at a terminal that's right outside of one of our main buildings and is right next to the bus loops. There are Go Transit routes to and from the university that include Square One, the Highway 407 bus terminal, Union Station, and Brampton Bramley. You could also connect to Hamilton and Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge via just a quick transfer. Many of my students were, or sorry, not students, but many of my friends who were students were coming from that area, and they were back and forth on the weekends like you wouldn't believe. I'm from Etobicoke, so when I would visit home, I would take the 29 Go bus and I would travel back to Toronto. That bus actually just drops me off right at Kipling Station, and it's basically like taking the highway there. Additionally, university students receive 40% off of their rides, so I didn't have to worry about breaking the bank to travel when I was responsible for paying for my trips home. And when I needed to top up my card, even if it was at the last minute, I could reload my Presto at the kiosk that we have on our Go platforms here. And again, something I did almost every single time I rode the bus. I would just be like, okay, I'm going home for the weekend. I've got everything packed. I don't have my Presto reloaded, but it didn't matter because it was right there. So that's basically it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, August, for telling us a little bit about your experience commuting on campus. So now it's time to move into our breakout sessions. So we have two different sessions that are going to happen at the same time. Both are recorded, so you can go to whichever one you think suits your needs best. But then please note, like, if you want to look at both, the recordings will be up on startufg.ca within about 72 hours of the session. So if you are a student who's interested in residence or learning more about residence, please stay in this session. So you don't have to do anything. Just stay here. If you are a student who is interested in living off campus or commuting to the University of Guelph, Abby has just posted a link in the chat. This link will take you to another Teams meeting where you will get to meet June and some other folks from the off-campus living team and learn all about living off campus. So we'll just stay here for like a quick few seconds and let folks move over there. And like I said, if you are maybe, interested in watching both presentations, they both will be recorded, so you don't have to worry about missing out because you can see both. So we'll give a few seconds to folks to move over to the new teams there for off campus. Okay, we'll give a few seconds. All right.
Okay, welcome folks. Thanks for joining the breakout room for the Living Off-Campus part of our Start U of G session today. My name is June Baldwin. I use she and her pronouns, and I am the coordinator of neighborhood relations and off-campus living here at the University of Guelph. I also have Juliet with me, who is a student and a student staff with our department, and we will be chatting about living off-campus. There is a Q&A function at the top of the screen, so if folks have questions, feel free to ask there. We'll also be sharing our contact information at the end of the session. And then we also are available for booking. So if you want to meet with us directly, have a one-on-one appointment, either virtually or in person, you can arrange that with us as well. And I will also mention that this session is being recorded and will be posted. Okay, so here's an overview of what we will be chatting about today. So what is off-campus living? Where do students live? The process of finding roommates, average prices, where to look for listings, living standards, the application process, red flags that are associated with searching for housing and securing housing. And then we'll also be talking about some food access options and building community. So off-campus living is a unit within the student experience department here at the University of Guelph, and we are here to support all students, whether you are looking to live off campus, you are already living off campus or will be in the future. So we provide a lot of information on the searching for housing process, but we're also here to provide one-on-one advising appointments for all things rental living. And we do rental and tenant consultations. You have a lot of rights as a tenant, or you may have questions about what is your right as a tenant or what is a landlord responsibility, things like that. We also will offer lease reviews and sublease reviews and support with that process as well. We also support with neighborhood relations. So that means maybe you're having an issue or there's some friction between you and neighbors in your community. Maybe they're students, maybe they are Guelph residents, maybe it's a family and there's issues with noise, things like that. We support with that. Or if you are in a situation where you receive an off-campus fine from local police or bylaw services, we can support you with what your options are in those situations, as well as offer mediation if there's problems with your landlord or with your roommates or with your neighbors. And as mentioned, you can contact us at ocl@uoguelph.ca with any questions. Okay, so where do students live? So there is not one single concentrated student area in the city of Guelph. Students are spread all throughout the city. There's many surrounding neighborhoods around the university that are close to grocery stores, the mall, other entertainment options, downtown, etc. And the majority of Guelph housing is individual homes. So that may be a townhouse, kind of a single family home. It may be broken up into a few different units of a single house. And there are also apartment buildings as well. In addition to that, there are some purpose-built student housing units. These do currently have wait lists. However, if you're interested in these options, such as Solstice Buildings, Edinburgh Village, or the Alma, I recommend inquiring with them as soon as possible about their wait list to see. I believe that they would be fully booked for this year, but it's worth reaching out. And it's also a good idea to get on their list if that's a housing option that you are even slightly interested in for your second year or moving forward. For finding roommates, if you're trying to find roommates prior to securing your housing, there's a few different ways that you can do that. We'll go over some of them in the next slide, but you can use the I Am a Griffin app if you haven't already downloaded it. There's a lot of great stuff that you can do on there. You can see upcoming events, you can see different clubs, things like that that are happening. But you can also use the chat feature on there to search for roommates or to browse through other people's postings. I know it's quite busy right now with a lot of housing specific conversations. You can also use the roommate finder tool on Places for Students, which I will go over on the next slide. And then informally, you can search and find groups based on your year of study or your program. So if you search your graduating year and your program on Facebook, for example, or Instagram, or on Discord or anything like that, any media platforms that you personally use, you will likely find different groups that have already been created, and those could be a good place to search for roommates as well, or even if you're just trying to connect with other students before you arrive. Griffin's Nest, which was also mentioned in the session by Jenny before. So that one is, you should have automatically been loaded into a Microsoft Teams channel. You just have to log into Microsoft Teams with your U of G login info, and you'll see Griffin's Nest as a team. That's another great place where you can connect with other incoming off-campus students. Everybody in that group is an incoming or transfer student new to the University of Guelph for the fall semester. And that's a great place where you could search for roommates too. Okay, so this is what the Places for Students roommate finding looks like. So Places for Students is also a listing website. So if you're looking for housing currently, you can use that site to browse the current listings. But if you put in the University of Guelph, you can also see the roommate profiles pages. It just takes a moment to load here. So there you can see the property listing option, which is great. And then you can also browse roommate profiles. These ones are old, so they may not be the current situation of what's being posted on there. You're welcome to make a post yourself, or you can browse and connect with folks how they would like to be connected here as well. Okay, so selecting or getting to know roommates. As an incoming student, you may be selecting your roommates before, or maybe you have friends that you're looking to live with already, or maybe you are renting a room in a house and you haven't met those roommates yet, or you're just meeting them now. These are some important things to kind of discuss ahead of time, or as soon as you get there and you move into the space, because having those conversations in advance can often prevent a lot of conflict during the actual time that you're spending living together. So things such as getting along, what do we have in common? Would we enjoy each other's company? Is this person easy to get along with? Do we enjoy the same things? And is that something that's important to me? For conflict, what boundaries do we have? Will they respect my boundaries? Can I be open and honest with them? How will we resolve conflicts? What's a way that works for both of us to do that? Thinking about conflict resolution before entering into a roommate relationship is really important, and it can prevent a lot of issues down the road. We also can provide roommate mediation if that's something that you and your roommates are interested in or is needed. As long as all of the parties agree to it, we can support with that. For lifestyle, will we have similar schedules? Sleep, work, school? Do we have the same lifestyle? Does one of us maybe party more than the other? Are we aligned with how we feel about the use of any alcohol or other substances in the home? And do we have any boundaries about that with regards to ourselves? And how many people are we interested in living with? For safety, obviously safety is really important. So do you feel safe with them? Do you, either of you have any significant allergies that could impact your living situation? Are you okay with pets if they have any, or are they okay with your pets? Will your pets get along? Things like that. All of these things are important to think about when you're deciding to live with someone or when you're getting to know someone that you will be living with.
Okay, so moving on, these are the current rental prices. So these were collected from a sample of 146 listings from the Canadian Places for Students and Brand Panda. It's important to note that prices are variable from year to year, from semester to semester. I believe these ones were collected from last spring. So if there are any changes, we will change that over time, but it's just something good to consider. It may or may not follow this strictly, but it's just for you to be aware. And then also keep note of additional expenses. So some utilities may or may not be included in the budget. Included in the rent, so budget accordingly. So things like water and electricity, which are offered through Gulf Hydro, and then gas, which is heat, is offered through Union Gas. And this can sometimes be $40 to $70 a month per person in a shared house, in addition to the rent that you would be paying. But again, this is something that you want to talk to the landlord about. to see if utilities are included, if it's not included in the description. And then in addition to that, there also may be internet or parking that you have to pay for additional to the rent. Again, this depends on the company, bandwidth, type of building, also other people living with you. So it's just good to consider. And here's some student-focused listing sites that you can use. However, it's important to note that the university does not manage or administer any of these listing sites. And Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace are other good sites you can definitely use. They're just not directly geared towards student listings. Either way, be sure that you are using caution to prevent being scammed and left without housing as a result. So if you're ever unsure about the quality of a listing, you can absolutely send it to us at the OCL team, which is ocl@evogolf.ca. We'll put it up at the end of the presentation, but we can let you know if you're of our opinion in that situation. And then we have the Canon. Do you see it?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so this is the Canon. So this is what it'll look like on the app. So when you go on, you want to make sure that you're collecting the filters. So making sure that you're looking for offering, because that means that the landlord's offering a place instead of the wanted. And then when you go through, these will be the listing sites that, or the sort of listings that you'll see. So make note of the description that's included, making sure that you're reading it carefully, so you know that what's included in the price or in the unit, what kind of amenities you have, and these are good to know. But yeah, also make note of when the place will be available. So which month would it be available? And then moving on. So after you contact or you look through the listing sites, the next step would be to arrange listings, arrange viewing. So use the listing websites and contact the landlord for all the places that you are interested in. Don't rely on photos to determine interest. Some are very outdated images or not at all, but don't rule that out. You do want to go see it in person if possible, either way. If not in person, then online. But it's definitely recommended to see it in person. So when reaching out to landlords, you can give a brief description about yourself, such as your name and your program, and ask to set up a viewing. Again, read the description of the unit. It likely lists all the information about other tenants, utilities, parking, rules about pets, etc. If not, take note of it, and then that's something you can ask at the viewing. Do not limit yourself to reaching out to just one landlord or a listing at a time. They receive a lot of interest, especially during this time, during like fall time. And you may not hear back from some of them because they are going so quickly. So a way to mitigate this is to ask for an application in advance of viewing. If it is a unit in high demand, then having a filled out application might help your chances. So keep in mind that not all units also might not have an application, but that's something to ask ahead of time to see what the application process would be like. And then step 2 is to attend showings, which primarily will happen in person, but if you require virtual showing, you can request this of the landlord. And showings are a great time to see the place and get a proper feel for the unit, as well as to get to know the landlord and see if they are the right fit for you. So that's a very important step. And the next is living standards. So some things to look out for. Do you have a working smoke alarm on every level and outside of every sleeping area? It's important to note that houses built after 2013 must have a smoke alarm on every level. Do you have a working carbon monoxide alarm installed? Do you have 2 safe ways to get out of the unit in case of a fire? If you or your housemate sleep in the basement, is there a big enough window on the or door on your floor leading directly outside so you can get out in case of a fire? If your building has more than 4 bedrooms sharing one kitchen, is it certified with the city? If your building has 2 separate kitchens, is it registered with the city? And then the way to check that is to do tenant inspections. So tenant inspections is something you could do before you move in. So you can call the city to see if property is registered or certified. The city can also tell you about building permits or any outstanding complaints so you can ensure that you are safe when you move in. And this is also something you can do after you move in. So the city inspectors can come and see if your rental unit meets minimum safety standards. And you can contact them to book a free inspection of your rental unit. And this is the number you can contact them at and their email. Okay, so moving on, step 3 is to complete an application. So there is no standard application landlords use. This is just an example of one. Landlords will use a variety of applications and may ask for different things, and some landlords may not have a formal application at all. And the purpose of the application is because they're essentially seeking information to decide whether or not you will be a good tenant that will not do damage to the property and will pay rent on time. So be prepared. Landlords will often ask for guarantors and or references for rentals and have this information ready if possible. So reaching out to a reference or a guarantor beforehand. And a guarantor can essentially be your parent or a guardian, someone that can just speak on your behalf and say that they can pay rent if you are unable to. If you do not have a guarantor, keep in mind that the university does not provide one. So your best option is to talk to the landlord and come up with an alternative. They may ask for a pay stub or bank statement, something that proves that you can pay rent. And sometimes it's helpful to provide landlords with proof of enrollment, and you can request this from the registrar's office. Landlords may ask you for a credit check. You do not need to provide your SIN number, which is your social insurance number. They can do a credit check without this information, and they do have to let you know that they will be completing a credit check. So our best advice for securing a rental to you is to be as quick with the whole process as possible. So landlords have a lot of interests right now, and there is a lot of competition for the units. So sometimes it's a matter of being the first one to respond and complete the application, provide all the guarantor information, and so on. And that being said, you want to make sure that unit is safe and is a good fit for you before signing the lease. So a lot to consider, but important things to take note of. Okay, so you find a place that you like and you're ready to sign a lease and pay last month's rent. So if and when your application is approved, you should be provided a copy of the standard form of lease from the landlord, which we'll look at that on the next slide. And this will be mostly filled out by the landlord with all the specifics of the unit. So what is included, what is not, the agreed upon monthly rent rate, the length of term, which is typically 1 year. Though keep in mind, even though it's 1 year, this does not mean you have to move out at the end of the term. It will automatically switch to a month-to-month lease. And the lease is a legally binding contract. It is your contract for the unit, and you are responsible for the agreed upon terms. Once the lease has been signed, you will likely be required to pay last month's rent as deposit. Landlords should only be asking for last month's rent. However, many do ask for first and last at the time of the signing of the lease. Also know that landlords can't ask for a damage deposit either. They're only allowed to ask for a key deposit, which would be the expected amount to replace your keys. So keep in mind the keys are not overly expensive. If they're asking for $500, that is a red flag because not many keys are $500. So, for example, if you're moving into the unit September 1st and you sign a lease on July 10th, you will be expected to pay last month's rent on July 10th, and you will start paying monthly rent on September 1st. And the last month's rent payment will be used for your final month rent payment living in the unit. So you don't have to pay that final month. Just keep note of that so you don't actually pay double. So this is the standard lease, and this was created by the Ontario government in 2018, which protects tenants by helping them know their rights and protects landlords by ensuring their contract is legal under the Residential Tenancies Act. And the Residential Tenancies Act, or the RTA, outlines the rights of landlords and tenants, which you can find online for free. If your landlord does not provide you with a standard lease, you can request a copy. Sometimes they make their own, but keep in mind if they put additional clauses that go against the RTA, you are still protected by the RTA and the standard lease. Landlords may also use one lease for a group of tenants or individual leases for each tenant. There are pros and cons to both, but they are accepted. The lease applies to tenants that are not living in the same home as their landlord or their landlord's immediate family. So if you do live with a landlord or their immediate family, for example, if you live with their daughter or son, you are not protected by the Residential Tenancies Act. And please reach out to us if this is the case, and if you have questions about this. We're also very happy to review leases or subleases. You can send it to us via email, or you can book an appointment with us. All right, and then red flags to look out for. So some red flags to keep in mind that may indicate a scam. When you're unable to meet the landlord or property manager in person, you definitely want to be able to meet them and ask questions. Landlord's out of town or out of the country, and there is no local contact or property manager. If you're unable to see the rental unit in real time, deposits other than last month's rent, again, if they're asking for damage deposits, that's not allowed. Any payments prior to signing a lease, and prices and lease terms that are too good to be true.
Okay, thanks, Juliet. So now I'm just going to chat about food access. So I know in the main session, we discussed the on-campus meal plans that are available and the off-campus meal plan that's available as well. So those are two really great options. If you're interested in kind of the more fulsome on-campus meal plan, you can definitely do that. It's available this year for off-campus students. There is also the Ultra meal plan through the University of Guelph, which is typically the plan that is focused towards off-campus students, and that one is just deposit-based. So I believe the minimum payment is $300 that you would deposit, and then you have that money available, but you can add more funds either at the time of purchasing that plan, or you can add them as you go as needed. And that plan, as well as the on-campus plan, will work for everywhere on campus, including at the university bookstore. And that also works at a lot of locations off campus. So there's a lot of places like local restaurants or takeout places that accept the student plan, and that includes the Ultra off-campus meal plan. So if you have any questions about those things, again, you can definitely email us or chat with us, and we're happy to go through what those options look like. But it is a good, I would recommend getting at least the Ultra plan if you're going to be eating on campus at all, because it makes it really easy to just tap your card, add more funds when you need it, and you can use it off campus. I think that it still also works for local taxis in Guelph as well. Outside of the on-campus meal plan, there is obviously a lot of different grocery stores throughout Guelph. So I'm always happy to chat grocery stores. I personally am somebody that really enjoys grocery shopping. I know that it's not for everybody, but I'm always happy to have those conversations with students and chat about kind of the pros and cons of each store, at least in my opinion. There are many stores in Guelph that have student discounts. Some of them are on certain days. So Metro, I believe, offers a 10% student discount every single day. Zehrs, which is also the same as Loblaws, if you're familiar, offers 10% discounts on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Other grocery stores may have deals as well, so keep your eyes out for those. You would just need to show your student card when you're checking out, and then those discounts would be applied. Some grocery stores are less expensive than others, such as No Frills, Food Basics, Freshco, Walmart. In addition, Guelph has a lovely farmers market downtown, right in downtown Guelph, and it's open every Saturday. There is also an on-campus food market. So during the fall and winter, it's a sliding scale on-campus food market, which offers fresh produce right in the university center, typically on Thursdays throughout the day. And they have a sliding scale option for payment. So it's a really great way to get some fresh produce just on your way home from classes. There is also an on-campus food bank, which is run by the Central Students Association. If you're interested in connecting with them, we can help get you in connection with those folks as well. And then also in the University Center, there's a community fridge and pantry, which is free for anyone to access. So there's literally just a fridge in the UC and some shelves as well in the corner. And that is free for anybody. So if there's any food in the fridge at any point, it will randomly be stocked by hospitality services. Also, some off-campus kind of grocery stores will sometimes donate items there as well. And it helps prevent food waste. And that is available to all students and anybody that wishes to access it. So it's always worth checking out what's in the fridge. Okay, and building community and staying connected. So living off campus certainly doesn't mean that you should be any less connected to campus and everything going on at the university. So these are kind of some ways that you can stay connected and build community for all of your time here in Guelph. So off-campus events are run by our office as well as other groups throughout campus. But personally, for off-campus living, we run a weekly event in the fall and winter semesters. And those are really focused on socializing, kind of making friends, meeting folks. We'll do crafts, we'll do games nights, we'll do really any kind of activity that folks are interested in. We'll do a movie night, maybe we'll have like a cooking thing or something that involves snacks or some free food. And we're also always interested in what folks want to do. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to connect with us on that. Those will be starting right away in September. And we will also be running a lot of orientation week programming. So you'll see that in the schedule. We'll have things such as off-campus kickoff, the pep rally, which is obviously available for off-campus students as well. And there's going to be a lot of really great events that are just for off-campus students, and then also a lot of ways to connect with on-campus students as well. So all of the main events during orientation week will be open to all incoming students, all first-year students, all transfer students as well. But there will be some specific things for off-campus students to kind of gather and then maybe go to those events together, in addition to all the other amazing events that are being run by student groups and organizations. Griff Life is a really great way to connect with us. If you haven't been on that website, you can actually have requests to join to be a member of the Off-Campus Living group, which just means that you'd be notified of events that we're running, and you can join as many groups as you'd like so that you can kind of stay in the loop about what things are going on. The Off-Campus University Students Group is a student-run club on campus. They have a lounge in the basement of the UC, which is a really great spot to go between classes. They have fridge in there, microwave, lots of couches, kind of a comfy place, a table if you're wanting to study or work on stuff. And they're usually open, I believe, every day for kind of the bulk of the day, but they'll kind of let folks know what their hours are starting in September. And you'll see that they're running a lot of really cool events during orientation week as well. The I Am a Griffin app, as we talked about, is another great place to see kind of what all of the other clubs and organizations are doing. And so those are some great ways to kind of stay in the loop. Here is just kind of a quick overview of what Griff Life looks like. So if you haven't been on the site before, I recommend checking it out. You can see upcoming events. This one is an old example, but that was a housing presentation that we ran in 2023. And you can always request to join the group as well, or you can contact us through that site, and you can do the same thing for any other groups that you're interested in. Okay, and that is everything for our off-campus breakout session. We'll hang around for a couple of more minutes. If folks have any questions, feel free to submit them with the Q&A button. If not, thank you so much for joining. We're really looking forward to meeting all the incoming students, and we are here to support you. So if you have any questions about the off-campus living experience, commuting experience, if you're going to be coming to campus from other cities, we can help with that as well. And we're really happy to chat anything off-campus living. Thanks, folks.